Hey everybody, welcome back on this beautiful Sunday afternoon to another stream of AIL 2024. This time we are doing, round 3. Let me just stop that music there. Yep. We're doing round 3 game, and this time it's going to be between Delementary and Inquisitor. This was sort of an impromptu last minute stream, so I'm just getting things set up. Let's hop over to the game because they are ready to go. I'll let them know. So obviously I don't have Killer with me. Yeah, we're just gonna hop in, and this wasn't a signed up feature match, but there's no reason not to be more hyped. Actually, I'll fix this. There we go. And get some more games in just for the sake of watching and having some fun. And I know Dell has been remiss with my inability to post more decent Eastern Standard Times, so weekend game seems like the perfect fit. We are starting with Inquisitor on his tried and true favorite Phoenix-born Herald, and Dell on Echo, which I don't think have seen in a minute or two. I love the color split, though. I think Nature, Sympathy, and Divine is a really good split. It can be very aggressive with things like Huntmaster. Mirror Spirits are always really good, and Lightbringer is a tried and true summon for Echo. On Inquisitor's side, we've got Heavy Divine, 5, 3 Ceremonial, and 2 Illusion. So I'm guessing that's probably Lightbringer, False Demon, and Winged Lioness. Maybe an Old Salt, and then a second Illusion is probably going to end up being for some things like Battle Tricks. And he could also be running Paladins, and probably some go wide stuff like probably Glory Aspirin in there. Pull out a light swordsman, write some quick strike tricks to add onto the guard pressure, and then being able to follow up later with the mark. So I'm really liking both of these decks. Very excited for this. And yeah, we're gonna hopefully have a decent game, not too short, not too long, like some of the previous matches were. Between me being late to Charlotte's game, Carl being late to his game, and now this 0 announcement game, we're really pushing, what is a scheduled time for games. So today is exciting. Hope somebody can join in chat to have some back and forth. But if you're only catching this at a later time on the video on demand, then hello, welcome, thanks for at least watching us later on. So like I mentioned, we are seeing a Huntmaster, which is a classic open in these colors, especially with Echo, right? You're just putting down bodies, and bodies are good if you intend to be running something like Mirror Spirits. The Lightbringers there on both sides as expected. And Gloria is there to pull out a light swordsman. So far, I think I am 4 for 4, 5 for 5, I guess. Feels good. Sometimes when you actually get things right, it makes you sound like you know what you're doing as a commentator. So 5 for 5. Let's see if there's False Demon in here and a Mirror Spirit, then I'm feeling really good. I don't know what the second set of nature dice for Dell is going to be. I mean, there could be obviously herders in there. I doubt he's doing a second. Let's see. He could be doing Adaptodon in theory, but I would have expected Meditation already. So if we say Mirror Spirit, he's already down 3, and then Lightbringer, that's another 3 dice, that's 6. So what are the last 2 cards, 4 dice? Chaos Gravity would be 2. And then 2 more in Nature. It's tough call. Could be, he would have, if he was doing Frog Ping Ice Trap, then I would expect again to see that Meditation a little bit earlier. So yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what he might be running for those second 2 dice. But we will find out. An Inquisitor side, so I said Lightbringer, Gloria, Light Swordsman, that's 3. False Demon is 5. Winged Lioness is 7. Old Salt would be 9, and then he meditated up the illusion die, which means that he's running another illusion card, if False Demon obviously is what I suspect. So in that case, it could be, wouldn't be Fate Reflection. It could be a 2 Shadows, because we've seen one of those. It could be a trick. It could be something like a Shadow Strike. I'm not sure about that, but it is possible. Like, I love the Lightbringer trick there. So let's just pull up the discard pile so we know what's going on. But 2 Shadows seems like a decent call. You're playing against Echo. You're playing against Exhaustion tricks. You know that he's going to try and set up some sort of potentially Chaos Gravity play. So if you can sort of nerf that possibility right off the bat, then I think you're feeling pretty good. Yeah, and he only meditated 1 ceremonial, so that leads me to believe that that's going to definitely be the Old Salt. You're getting a lot of ping value in here, at least 2 sources of ping. There it is. Okay, folks, I am reading this round 1, both sides, like a genius here. Yeah. Had a wild morning. We're tons of rain, so we were planning to go into a farmer's market quite far away, about an hour and 20-minute drive. And just when we get to there, I double checked the openings, because my wife was like, oh, this is what we'll do. We'll go see this. And it turns out it was closed on Sunday. She had it in the calendar, but it was only open on Saturday, not on Sunday. So we made the best of it. We had a nice little morning, went to a really cool market elsewhere, and then got stuck in major traffic on the way back. And so like 2.5+ hours of driving, but back by 12:30. We had an early morning start, and my daughter started playing Switch. She's been really into Mario, which is really cool. That those games are, they've done such a good job with the UI, making them playable and usable and understandable for young children. So it was a easy car ride, and she had a lot of fun. And now I'm getting to do Ashes, which is great. So today is a great day, and I've been playing Hollow Knight on the side. I've not downloaded Dune yet, like Shmenny wants me to. $15. Might have to build up more of my Google survey credits, but we'll see. All right, so back to the game action here. False Demon comes down, pings away the Panther. Now it's going to mark the Hunt Master and do away with that. Or at least, if Echo chooses to... okay, so the Salamander Monk was something I hadn't really thought of, but that makes a lot of sense. So Frog Ping and Salamander Monk is what I'm guessing. But yeah, that's an extra value play. So now that the monk comes down, I would assume that Herald swings into the Huntmaster just to avoid giving the monk that value, because the Huntmaster can just buff it, swing it, and then either pull guard or otherwise. So I'm guessing he's going to swing it here, but we'll see. You can't ping it away with just 1 source of ping, but he could Light Swordsman it. Although that feels wasteful, because it's a die plus the mark, and you're already, you kind of want that quick strike to pull guard. So he's just going to go ahead and trade out the False Demon. And he's still looking pretty on dice. The Lightbringer now will at least probably pull out this Salamander Monk, unless he's not too worried about it, and he just pings away later. But it's nice that even with the Monk's Spirit, you have a buffer against getting pulled out of position too much. So Mirror Spirit does come down. That's 2 more dice. I'm guessing it is going to be Chaos Gravity, although What could you do with 3? You could do Ember Heart, but there's no alteration, so that wouldn't be any value. Um, I just can't see it not being Chaos Gravity and a Frog Ping here. All right. Okay. So I was wrong. Finally wrong here. Well, I missed the Salamander Monk, but it is not Winged Lioness. It is Shining Stagmount. Very interesting. So that means he has to be holding a second ally to make this worth it, because it's going to be 3 dice. 1, 2, 3 there. 4, 5, 6. It's got to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. It's got to be Old Salt. Is he planning on mounting Old Salt? You wouldn't really want to mount the Light Swordsman, because you want the Light Swordsman to actually swing and get value. So it feels a little awkward. I am surprised, honestly, that he played the demon so early just to ping off the Panther Spirit, because realistically, it was already going to die. And instead, you could have waited for, say, the Sally to swing or the Lightbringer or something like that. And then you're pinging off over round value. And I assume that part of the goal was to get the Glory mounted. But 1, 2, 3. In theory, he could be aiming not to mount the Stag round 1 at all. And he was doing something sneaky like a Paladin play. And then that's 4 dice, 1 for the Light Swordsman, and 1 for the Lightbringer. Possible. You kind of throw off. You get your book down, but you throw them off, and you're not too worried about it. I don't like it. Could also be planning, since he did meditate the ceremonial. He could be planning on just something simple like recurring a Glory Aspirant and playing like a second Light Swordsman. So it would be 1, 2, 3. You still have them Stagmount. 4, 5. Yeah, they're okay. Oh, the Hand of Spear in this case. Yeah, okay. So same sort of idea, right? Recurring. I just didn't know what he was going to choose, but this at least gets you the 2 units. But yeah, just imagine if he had been using the False Demon. I mean, yeah, you're going to take potentially 4 more damage if Echo chose to use his ability to exhaust the demon, the Flux. But you would have been able to at least then sink the Salamander Monk as well, and then he's 2 units down. Lightbringer is already gone. Okay, so it's not Chaos Gravity because he's got Clashing Tempers. Okay, nice play. That's really good here. Ooh, that's Value Town. Nice. Oh, wait. Did he mean to do that opposite? Oh no, yeah, ping away. Yeah. That makes sense because it's 2 life. Yeah. Ping away, exhaust. That is great. That is really nice. You're really cleaning up the board here. You know that Light Swordsman there, but you still have your guard up. And yeah. That puts Harold in a bad place. At least, he gets top around. He's still got a unit on the board, but playing Chaos or playing Clashing Tempers instead of Chaos Gravity here, I think that's a big win. Yeah. Nice play, Del, if you watch this. That was good. Gets an early 4 damage, establishing the board well. I mean, whatever he does play, he's not maximizing the value out of the Mirror Spirit, and he's going to take 2 here. But you're putting, most likely, if what I would do here is swing back at the Swordsman, you're going to get a guard. If you do, you now got Herald down to 10, which is nice starting round 1, right? Putting 6 damage down. If he doesn't guard and he lets it go, then you're at least clearing out the Light Swordsman, which is also really nice because you don't want to let him go into top round with it. And that's just that's just nice. That's just good value. And potentially, I mean, again, he's got the 1 card. I don't know what it is, but you're not going to be able to get Stag Mount out this round. So you're potentially stranding some dice. So this was nice. The only thing I would have done differently he couldn't quite time it out. But it would have been nice if because he did the Clashing Tempers on the same turn as Mirror Spirit, it would have been nice if he was able. Ooh, and it was to Shadows. Okay. So there you go. I called almost everything. I missed the Clashing Tempers and the Stag I called Linus instead of Stag, but that was a pretty good call. Stranded 1 die, so I don't think the recursion was part of the original plan. But he could have, bumped up the Mirror Spirit to 3. But, he had to put something down. And, well, he didn't have to time it that way, but either way, he was going to get pressured by the Hand of Spear. And then you're basically guarding twice. So, and you leave him with the 2 shadows in hand, which you could have used on the Salamander Monk, and then then you're down nothing going into this. So, yeah, that's some good round 1 play. Definitely, watching the Herald adapt on the fly to losing all of his allies, all of his mount targets. Now we got a simple non-committal play. Light Swordsman into the Monk. You're not going to guard this because why do you care? You got a body down. I don't think you want a Lightbringer here. You don't really care too much about pulling the shield out of play, I would say. Although the benefit is then you get a second body down. You're pulling it out. You're getting something that's not going to wipe your board, and you're going to be able to buff up the Mirror Spirit. And it's also non-committal. You could just as easily, though, play Salamander Monk, and then you have something to take care of the Lightbringer again, and something that has to probably just take because you don't really want to guard something like that. But yeah, Del is in a nice position here. Also, the Lightbringer can now, you're going to force a guard probably on the Light Swordsman. I imagine keeping the Light Swordsman as value, but it depends. I mean, Herald at this point is down 6 life, so unless he's got Consume Soul, he probably is going to have to start letting some things go. And you're threatening the Frog Ping on, his own Light Swordsman. I love this. Nice. Okay, just aggressive. Punching for 3 more. Okay. Del. I love it. Taking the pot shots when he can. So we know with Herald, he's got 5 dice on board, but really it's 6 because you need a mount. So yeah, I mean the Light Swordsman. Here's my thing: you generally want to play for control. Although he is going top around, you want to be able to clear this board. You know that the False Demon is going to come down. It would have been nice to actually swing at it with the Swordsman and pull guard, and you still get the 2 damage through. But it also, you're losing 2. You're either even on damage, and then the units on board, whatever, you would have lost. I don't know. You would have lost the Lightbringer. Um, but I think you would have put better pressure. And if you do that, then you're more open for things like the Mirror Spirit. Because Herald still has a mark, right? So you can still do a ton of things. Like, you're going to lose any Mirror Spirit to an Old Salt. So it's just probably a little more unfortunate. I'll be curious here if he swings at the False Demon and threatens a Frogping on it to just sort of, try and gain even more value. It depends, obviously, what he has on his hand, but he doesn't really have to overcommit to anything. He could swing at the Light Swordsman. Yeah, don't swing at the Lightbringer. That is a 0 value target. There we go. Okay, so he does correct the attack. Swings at the Light Swordsman. And then the question is, does Herald care about this? No, he doesn't. He's got to sort of conserve his life value. Of course, he could always meditate up and recur it if he thinks that that's going to win him the board here. Not a fan of that Frogping. That wasn't really ideal. The other thing to consider is pinging the Light Swordsman away too early doesn't help your Mirror Spirit, right? You want that thing to be up to ideally a 3 attack. Pinging away the Light Swordsman when it's already done its thing is kind of wasteful, and you don't know what else is coming down. So I don't like that Frogping at all. Especially if, who knows? If he had a Wrath in hand too, then you can also end up getting like 2 for 1 on the whole board. You're going to clear out all these units while you clear away the Demon, the Herder, and the Hatchling. So that's a misplay. That was the first misplay. And now you know that the mount is going to come down, right? And you can't stop the mount because you got rid of the Frogping. That's just not great. First slip up from Dell. Question is, does that cause him now to, does it cause the Herald to be able to even up the game here? Inquisitor, he can make the smallest slivers of a mistake into a big advantage, or at least being able to make a big comeback. And he does have 4 units on the board, and Dell effectively only has Sally and Lightbringer because the Monk Spirit's going to die. So could have been a big mistake. Hey, Killer, what's up, man? Good to have you. Yeah, this was last minute, but it's been a good game. Fun. We're going into round 2, or we're in round 2 here. Getting down 4 dice on the Herald side, still 6 dice for the Echo, but we know that there's going to be at least 2 for the Mirror Spirit, so 4 dice unaccounted for. What do we got here? We got the Terra pinging away the Spirit, and then he's just going to take 3 to face. Yeah, and this was all enabled by the fact that he did not either meditate up a second Frogping if he really didn't have anything to play, or just being too ambitious on an exhausted unit. Like, that type of thing, you want to save for those situations. Something we talked about, I don't know, early in Jankyard episodes. Frog up, right? That was the thing. Is you want to have that frog available so that if your opponent passes and you're ahead on board, then you can ping away something of value and then just pass, especially if you're already up and you're going top of round. Pinging an exhausted unit in the middle of the game, in the middle of the round when you're ahead, but also when you're playing something like the Mirror Spirit, seems really bad. It's just too committed, and it knowing especially that your opponent is on a mounting plan doesn't force them into anything. At least you could have forced them into recurring an ally, and then they're down not only the unit, but they're down a health. So anyway, enough. I don't want to harp on mistakes like this because we all make them. But just illustrating for potentially any new players, sort of the thought process you might want to have. Interesting that. Oh, that was sorry. That was Inquisitor attacking. Right. Okay. I was also gonna. I was just gonna say. At some point, we need to see Gravity Flux do something here. But he actually spends his Hunter's Mark just to get rid of this thing. He knows that something like a Mirror Spirit on the field with 3 tokens, especially when you're in color for, or sorry, when you're in Echo for something like Chaos Gravity to refresh a big attack and you're facing down 6, right? That's not any good. Sorry, I didn't have Dell's pile here. He had gotten rid of one Mirror Spirit book early. Hopefully he gets a second because that will really put up the pressure. Being able to just exhaust Herald's Field, that becomes then a big issue. It'll actually be really cool if he held onto the book and then he puts it down now and then, ooh, that's never good to see. That's never ideal. The sympathy power is, at this point, I think it's the worst power. It's, yeah, I would say it's the worst power. Everything else, I mean, at least because of Red Rains, has some synergy, and Charm, which used to arguably be the worst. But you never want to just draw. That shows that you're desperate, that you have nothing in hand. It's just not ideal. Old Salt coming in. Okay. Interesting that he chose. I guess it doesn't really matter. You're not putting a blocker back into play, but you know, the monk is not going to do anything. The monk spirit, and then you know for sure it's gone. Oof. Does he have nothing? So this is the type of thing where small mistakes. I didn't mention the consume swell, but that sort of puts Harold back with a little bit of a buffer room, and now he's looking at potentially, you know, another 2 to 4 damage next round. Frog pinging the old salts and then passing. That is also, I think, a misplay. If you really have nothing to do, unless your hand or otherwise is necessary, you know that he's going to swing that old salt for value. You could have meditated up another frog ping and then at least for sure cleared. Right? Like, you've passed twice in a row. If you really have nothing to do, but you know that he's going to swing, then you should have frog ping. See, now he frog ping, or he meditated up too late, and then he gets to pass for free. That's any, yeah. Ooh, okay. So some mistakes have have leveled the game a little bit here. Harold is now sitting pretty comfortably with a unit guard and 4 points worth of damage sitting ready on board. He's also got the Lightbringer next, or like on his turn, to pull the Sally out of play. So that's potentially 5 damage to face. This is where things can easily turn. We know now that Echo has Molten Gold and Explosive Growths in hand or in deck. Also an Ice Trap going. Let me just fix this a little bit. There we go. So those were some unfortunate meds. But yeah. The Ice Trap, I don't know, round 1, like if I was facing this, Ice Trap might, in theory, have been better than Clashing Tempers. Like Ice Trap plus a Frog Ping. That probably would have been slightly more value. Just because At least when I was assuming what would be in the deck on Herald's side, thinking that the False Demon and or Lioness is there, running an Ice Trap is way better. You're guaranteed to be a die up, and then the Frog Pink can also be for some things like for the allies that he might mount once you find that plan out. So that just thinking about that, but anyway, uh, Inquisitor used Hunter's Mark to kill the swordsman that came down. Not generally a great idea to play a knight into Herald when he's got his markup. That's just immediate, like with 2 attackers, that's just immediate loss of value. And now he's swinging to threaten, I guess, this Old Salt, but the Hand of Shield is there. I don't know. This is, unless he's got Crescendo, this is just a questionable call. I really don't like this play. Frog pings it away. Okay. Oh, Widows. Now that hurts. That attack was just completely unnecessary. The better thing to do there would have been Lightbringer, pull the Hand of Shield out of position, have 2 units on board. Yeah. That whole sequence I did not like. And now on top of the knight, you're down 5 dice to 2. See, now you play Lightbringer, but like, who cares? Right? Meditates up another frog. River Scald is gone. This deck feels awfully similar to one of my decks. I mean, granted, that's not saying much. In these 3 colors, in Echo, you kind of picking a lot of the best stuff. So that doesn't say much. But I don't remember if I've shared with Dell or if I published a similar deck. But yeah, there's just a lot of good stuff. So in theory, there's still probably another Huntmaster for punching. There's probably still another Sonic, although he doesn't obviously have the dice this round. Probably a second Scald, probably a second Explosive Growth, and we're still wondering if and when he's going to draw into that second Mirror Spirit book, and then 2 Chaos Gravities. All right. So Mirror Spirit goes down as a 2/2 with, okay, another play I do not like. And this is why. He can play, that he's got Hand of Spears and Terror Herders, which immediately stop your ability to get through. There it is, okay? 2 bodies against the Divine. You're playing it way too early. That was just not ideal. This now threatens nothing. Your Lightbringer can swing at the Hand of Spear, but Herald can just guard, and then the Hand of Shield you can't get rid of, so you're not getting this Mirror Spirit. Likely, you're not getting this Mirror Spirit past both blockers. And what's worse is that the Hand of Spear has Quick Strike, so you know for sure you're taking 2 damage to guard, although it's not going to get to that point because Herald is just going to build up bodies. Basically now, he's got all 3 books. He's still got the False Demon. He's still got the Stag Mount. Like, there's too much. I think this is unfortunately entirely swung in the favor of Inquisitor, and it's really just a result of, I would say, 3 misplays, 2 of which happen to be related to when and what to Frog Ping and when to meditate up. One of them was that early attack for just basically no reason, no value. and you're down now all your dice. You've shown your hand. Your opponent has full information on 6 dice. Um, yeah, it's and not to mention even just with the one ceremonial, right? The threat of just so much. Yeah, this is, or at the very least, old salt for pinging away more of your bodies. Okay. So he swings at the hand of spirit because he doesn't want it to die, but at least he's getting a body out. There's no world though in which this mirror spirit stays alive. Like none. And you're taking at least 2 damage, but now probably 6. And then you don't have top of round. So the explosive growth was 2 dice to threaten a 0-2. Yeah. Hey, Sarnat. That's good. It's always nice when the kids actually sleep through the night. Something to know about it knowing is what constitutes a good attack, so I'm not sure I can make a decision under the same circumstances. So good attacks are the hardest part of Ashes. Like knowing what to make an attack with, knowing what to attack, like whether it's to face Phoenixborn or to a unit, and then knowing when to attack, or whether to swing with multiple attack. Like there's 5 or 6 factors that make it so difficult. But I think if you had to boil it down to a general rule and something that Red Rains does help reinforce, is that you want to try generally to clean the board, because for any units that you can remove of your opponent, right, like there's summons and then there's the units on board which are round over round value. And so if you think of those as dice that they are then keeping and having at each round, right, that means that they are potentially working with more than 10 dice each round, right? They're able to carry over a knight, that's 3 dice, so they're working with 13 dice worth of value next round. Hitting to face, unless you're doing something like an aggro, like super aggro deck, Wide Swarm followed up by Burn, where you're trying to win in 2 rounds, isn't generally going to be the right way. So Red Rains sort of teaches you that mechanic, because all of the units, the Chimera aspects, they will give the Chimera blood points, and then bad stuff happens. It's kind of teaching you like prioritize battlefield control. And so that's what you want to do. You also want to think of how many dice your opponent has left and how much information you want to reveal to them. Sometimes in things like round 1, you put like maybe a book down or 1 book down, and then maybe you're swinging, that type of, like you're playing it slow. And this is why in this case something like the Mirror Spirit, the Frog Ping, the early swing, all of it was revealing too much and limiting Dell's flexibility. So now he's facing a full board. He's not going into top round, which is another factor to consider. Like, are you going to have first mover advantage, or are you potentially just going to get run over if you swing out and you're fully exhausted early? So there's a lot of things, and then obviously I'm not a great player at it, but as a golden rule, just prioritize battlefield control, prioritize units that are active, that are unexhausted, and try and put guard pressure, right? Because if there's something exhausted and you swing at that, generally that's not like, that's putting all the options on in your opponent's hands. They can say, hey, actually, I wanted that removed because I need the ability to put more bodies down. You're giving them the choice. Whereas if you're swinging at one of their unexhausted units, especially with something like Quick Strike. You're like, are you going to lose this for absolutely zero value, or are you going to guard? And then you have choices after the fact. Getting back quickly to the game, we missed, but the Stag Mount came down, then False Demon came down, and a full swing against, you know, Del couldn't do anything is a game. So yeah, it was. This was one of those cases where, in theory, I understand the Mirror Spirit was like, hey, if you don't have a 2-for-1, I just win. I swing for 8 and I win. So it's like the pressure. But as we know, he was playing Terror Herders. He was playing Hand of Spear. It is the new Divine set. The likelihood is very high. I don't remember if he had Ceremonial showing, but that in and of itself is just like, well, I can get a 2-for-1, no problem. So yeah, that's my take on it. Dell is now admitting that playing that Sonic was a big error. Yeah. Playing that turn 1 or whatever was turn 2, it's just immediately losing value. So yeah, this was an interesting game because, in my opinion, Inquisitor was definitely on the back foot. Obviously, I can't know what either player drew or had in their hands. It would be cool if there was a commentator only mode, but I understand, at least for the purpose of live streaming, that still, you know, you could cheat with that. But it would be cool if, like, after the fact, I could see what the cards were and be able to commentate. Yeah, I think, at least based off of the board at the time, Dell had the upper hand. If he drew bad, that happens. But he just needed to play it a little bit more patiently against the numerous options, especially knowing that your opponent is on a Stag Mount, and really they're virtually never going to waste the mount on Old Salt, which is because it costs 2 and it's more. They're virtually never going to waste it on a Light Swordsman, because you're just spending dice for no reason. You're not getting any value. So you know that their mount targets are Hand of Spear and Terror Herder and Glory, in theory, and all 3 of those actions or allies are 1-die units, and so you could just stop it by threatening that Frog Ping at any time or forcing him to rush a mount. But then you have Gravity Flux. Like, there's just, you know, like, if he had just held that one Frog Ping instead of Frog Pinging the Light Swordsman, if he Frog Pinged the Hand of Spear when it eventually came down, when he had threatened game with explosive growth, and then he had played Light Swordsman to bring the active, you know, the second unit out of play, it then opens the door for Flux swing for game. So those are the types of things you got to be thinking of and trying to set up. Anyway, that is the game. It was a cool game. I like both of these decks a lot. I'd be cool if either of you, Inquisitor or Dell, watch this at a later point, share these decks. I might even just ask for them because they're both very nice decks. But yeah, this was an impromptu stream. Hope you guys liked it. Round 3 AIL. We will probably be doing a stream later in the week if anyone signs up. Generally after, let's say, 8:30 Eastern time is when we're both available. But I will make work whatever works for people. And other than that, I'm going to have a enjoyable Sunday with the rest of the family. And I hope you guys all have a great time. And we'll catch you on the flip side. So have a good one. Thanks, everyone. Check you later.